want you to open your mouth and commit yourself into the hands of God, that the promises of God in your life will not fail. As you have come to meet him today, that the Almighty God will meet you at the very point of your needs in the mighty name of Jesus. You have not come to watch any man. You have not come to meet any man. You have come to meet the Almighty God. Pray that the Almighty God will meet you at the very point of your needs today in the mighty name of Jesus. King of glory, the I am that is I am. We have come as your children because your word says that we should come boldly unto the throne of grace that we may obtain mercy. We have come, Lord Father, today even unto your throne. We pray, Father, that you release your mercy unto us in the mighty name of Jesus. We have come with our empty vessels. Father, oh Lord, we pray that you fill our vessels up for us today in the mighty name of Jesus. None of us will go back home empty, but Father, we shall go back home filled of you in the mighty name of Jesus. King of glory, we are handing over the service of this morning unto you, Lord Father. We pray that you have your way in our midst in the mighty name of Jesus. Every spirit of buying and selling, every spirit that will not allow one to get the best from you, we bind them, we cast them out this morning in the mighty name of Jesus. We pray, Lord God of heaven, that the blessings that you have in store for your children, it shall not elude them this day in the mighty name of Jesus. Father in heaven, we say thank you. We worship you, we adore you. Our brethren that I see on the way, Lord Father, bring them here safely in the mighty name of Jesus. At the end of the service, Lord Father, let blessings be our portion and all glory be to your holy name in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord Father, because I pray answering God. For in Jesus' mighty name we are prayed. Amen.
Amen. As we remain standing, I just want us to begin to count the blessings of God one by one. In your life, see what God has done for you. From January to this moment, count on God for those things, those journeys that you embark on. Even many of us that will travel back from Nigeria, some travel from here to Nigeria, some are driving cars even in the city. Many things are going on. But to the glory of God, for the mercy of God upon you, upon me, I want you to, like standing, just visualize yourself like standing in front of a mirror and begin to recount, to see yourself, from January. Even if you cannot remember from the very first day you were born onto this earth, remember from January up to these very moments. And technical, please, if you can give us Psalm 124 from verse 1 to 8, or from verse 1 downward. Just so we know how we can appreciate God Almighty this morning. Many that says, oh, okay, goodbye, I'm coming right now. That was the end of that goodbye they said. They never returned back to that very place. But you were able to say goodbye to your loved one. And same, you came back safely and to see them, to witness them again. The word of God says, if it has not been the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been the Lord who was on our side, when men rose against us, men, not man, men, multitude of enemies, multitude of antagonizers, multitude of adversaries, they rose against you, they rose against us, they rose against the children. But because God Almighty is stood by his promises to you, his promises never change. That is why this morning, recount the blessings of God in your life. It's not about what you have made. It's not about your wealth. It's not about your qualification. It's not about your wisdom and understanding. It's about God this morning. It's about the one that I am that I am. The one who says and it come to pass. The one who openeth and no man can shut. And the one who shut the doors of evil and no enemy can open it. Brethren, the month of October is going gradually. And yet we are seeing the presence of God flourishing. Hallelujah be to the name of God. Lord, we worship you. The Lord reigneth, let the heart tremble. He reigneth, let the Lord reigneth, down before you. Our Father in heaven, glorify your name. We bow down before you. Our Father in heaven, we bow down before you. Our Father in heaven, we glorify your name. We bow down before you. You alone that's worthy, Father, to be praised and adored. Oh, you alone that's worthy, Lord. Oh, to be praised and adored. You be faithful, Lord. Oh, yes. That is why your name. Oh, you be faithful, Father. Faithful, Lord. That is why your name. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's begin to worship God again one more time this morning. We cannot over worship our daddy. We cannot over worship this God. From January to this moment, He deserves our praises. There's nothing we can give to Him this morning to worship His holy name. He's worthy to be praised. Come before Him with acts of thanksgiving this morning. Come before Him to appreciate the Lord. Bless His holy name. Worship Him for His goodness, for His mercy. Lord, we lift you high. You are highly lifted up. There is no one like you. Hallelujah.
name we worship. Thank you. For you can go. Thank you. I want us to begin to bless God this morning, people of God. This is time for us to talk to our daddy, people of God. I want us to flash back and begin to remember his goodness over your life from January to this today. Let's begin to bless God, people of God. I want us to begin to worship this daddy. Say good things to him, people of God. It's I am that I am. Is the one that fighting all our battle. When I begin to worship this daddy, begin to bless him, really appreciate him. Say good things to this daddy. Is the King of Kings, is the omnipotent, is the one that answered by fire. Begin to flash back from January to this October. Let's begin to bless. Let's really appreciate this daddy. Let's thank him. Let's adore his holy name. Let's worship him. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Daddy Lord. In Jesus' precious name, we worship Lord. We are still praising this Daddy. I want us to open our Bible to the book of Psalm 113. Psalm 113, verse 1 to 8. Praise ye the Lord. Praise, O servant of the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord, from this time forth and forevermore. From the rising of the sun to its going down, the Lord's name is to be praised. The Lord is high above all nations, his glory above the heaven. Who's like thee, Lord our God, who dwells on high, who humble himself to behold the thing that's in heaven and the earth. He raises the poor out of the dust. He lifts the needy out of the up, that he may send in with praises, with the praises of his. I want us to bless God. This verse is loaded. I want us to begin to bless God. Is the one that beautiful your life with a glorious. He beautify your life with a good thing. Is the one that did not allow the enemy to prevail over your family. When I begin to watch according to this scripture, it's so bless the name of the Lord, the one that always be with us, the one that always answer all by fire. When we call upon as a church, as a family, let's begin to bless him. Let's worship this daddy. Let's thank him. Let's begin to flash back to remember his goodness over our life in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and October. I want us to begin to thank him. I want us to sing a new song to him. Sing a new song to your daddy. It's I am that I am. Is the only one of Israel. Is the one that can do all of my can do. Let's begin to worship him. Let's really appreciate him. Let's thank him for his mercies. Let's thank him for his goodness over our life. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' precious name we pray. I want us to pray, people of God, this morning. I want to remind you the theme for this month, walking in the liberty of Jesus. Please, I want us to open our Bible to the book of Isaiah chapter 9. Because of our time, I'm going to stand for verse 6. Isaiah chapter 9, I will stand for verse 6. The Bible says, unto us a child is born, for unto us is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder. Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, of the increase of his government and peace that be no. I want us to pause a little. I want us to, the Bible says we shall decree a thing shall be established. I want us to focus onto the name of our God. I want us to begin to decree that name, because the Bible says the name of my daddy is a wonderful, everlasting God, the mighty God. Let's begin with the Prince of Peace. I want us to begin to decree that once your life, that the word and work of God begin to work in your life in this month of October, that the mighty God, the mighty hand of God will show forth in your behalf. Begin to call his name is a wonderful one, that in this month of October you experience a wonder work. You experience the wonder hand, and the wonder hand of God will show forth in your behalf in this month of October. Begin to plug your life onto the name of our God. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Colossians chapter 1 verse 12 says, give thanks to the Lord for who has qualified us to be a partaker of inheritance of the saints in the light. He has delivered us from the power of darkness and conveyed us unto the kingdom of. I want us to pray. The Bible says God is the one that translates you and I from the darkness into his light. I want us to begin to be Lord, I key into your word. You're coming to this is to shed light. Every darkness in my life disappear. Let's begin to pray, because you have translated my life. You have translated everything concerning me into your life. Whatever that stands as a darkness in my life, hear the word of the Lord. Someone has shown forth in my life, and he has translated me from the darkness into the light. The light of God begin to show forth in my life, in this church, in my own way. Let the light of God begin to pave a way for me. I kick against every spirit of darkness, because it's not belong to me. I am not your candidate. Someone has stepped into this sinful world. I has given the light, and this light of God begin to show forth in our service, in our life. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Luke chapter 12 verse 10 says that the angel said to them, do not be afraid. Behold, I bring you a good tidings of great joy. I want us to be, Lord, there shall be a good tidings of joy in our soul. Let's begin to be, Lord, because God has commanded us that He has been a good tidings unto us. Begin to key on the good tidings into your life. That is all about our daddy, all about Jesus, because Jesus brought a good tidings, that good tidings of the Lord. Let's pray that begin to appear in our life, in our family, in our home. That good tidings of the Lord will receive it into the service. That Lord, we pray that good tidings of the Lord show forth in our life, in everything that we're going to do. Thank you, Father. In Jesus' precious name we pray. That verse 11 that looks to it said, for there is a born to you this day in the city of the Savior, who is the Christ. That I want us to pray, because Savior has been born from 2,000 years ago now. I want to pray, Lord, because I'm safe indeed, Lord. And let's pray with power of Savior, power of Lord Jesus Christ, begin to radiate in my life. No more sin in my life again. I will not find myself in the mess of sin, because Savior of this world has appeared in my life. He has delivered me. He has set me free. Savior of my soul, begin to walk in my life. Begin to walk in my family, in our church, because you are saved already. No more sin in our life. We will not find ourselves. We will not entangle into anything. Thank you, Father, Lord. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Matthew chapter 28 verse 18. I want us to pray this prayer very well. Matthew chapter 20 verse 18. And Jesus came and spoke to say, all authority has been given to me in heaven, on earth. I want us to pray. I want us to begin to walk majestically as the person that have the authority, because the authority has given on this earth. Authority, Father Lord, to have a liberty to begin to operate in where God has positioned me. So, authority to begin to see what God ordained for me in this Canada, in Saskatchewan. Let's begin. Lord, that authority show if God has given unto me, I will begin to operate in a new revelation, in a new dimension, in a new wisdom, because authority to be at the head, not to be the tail. God has pushed into me and begin to walk in that authority. As from today, that light will show forth. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Daddy Lord. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Our Father, we thank you this morning, Lord. We thank you for this wonderful time, Lord. Thank you, Father, Lord God, for answer by fire, Daddy, Lord. And we know that as we call upon you today, we know you answer us in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Daddy, Lord. As you continue with us in the mighty name. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Jesus' precious name we pray.
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. So the choir, we have a song to render today. And the song's about our vulnerabilities without God. That is, we have nothing without God. We can do nothing. It's just for us to declare it. Because no one can share God's glory with him. So we have to declare that, yes, everything I have, whatever I've done, I can't do it. I couldn't have been able to do it by myself, if not for God. And the song is very simple. You can just listen and be blessed in Jesus' name. Amen.
Praise the Lord. Let's stand upon our feet as we are seeking to bless God. Adonai, we worship you, Son of God, Son of God. You are so good. You are so good. Almighty God, hallowed be your name. Your name, your dominion is forevermore. Adonai, Adonai, we worship you. We worship you, Son of God, Son of God. You are so good. You are so good. Almighty God, hallowed be your name. Your name, your dominion is forevermore. You are Yahweh. 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 Alpha and Omega. You are Yahweh. Alpha and Omega. You are Yahweh. You are Yahweh. Yeah. You are Yahweh. You are Yahweh. You are Yahweh. Yeah. You are Yahweh. You are Yahweh. Alpha and Omega. 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 Heavenly Father, the Almighty God, the Rock of Ages, the one who was, the one who is, the one that is to come, the one who rules in the affairs of men. We thank you because of your word. We thank you because of your promises. We thank you for your faithfulness. We thank you, Daddy, for your kindness. We thank you for your mercy. Your words say it is of your mercies that we are not consumed. Your compassion, they failed not, they renew every morning. Thank you, Lord Father, for renew your mercy and your compassion unto us this day. I am that I will say thank you. Be there, exalted Father, in the mighty name of Jesus. We thank you, Lord Father, because you did not allow the decision of the enemy to prevail in our life. Because your words say, who is he that seeth and cometh to pass when the mouth of the Lord has not spoken it? We thank you, Lord Father, because you do not allow the pronouncement of the enemy. You do not allow the pronouncement of the wicked one to come to pass upon our families and our household. I am that I am, we say thank you. Be there, exalted Father, in the mighty name of Jesus. I hand over myself unto you. Use me to speak your word. Use me to declare your word. In the mighty name of Jesus. King of glory, as I declare your counsel this morning, I pray that in any area that your children are being entangled with one yoke of bondage or the other, you shall release them. In the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord Father, because I pray answering God. You said we should not be ignorant of the devices of the enemy. That is why, Father, every spirit of buying and selling, every spirit that will not allow one to get the best from you, I bind them and I cast them out. In the mighty name of Jesus. And I pray, Father, that you grant your children retentive memory. you grant them the heart, that heart of flesh, not a stony heart. That heart that be receptive unto your word, and that we the doers of it all, in the mighty name of Jesus. Blessed Father, we say thank you. For in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. Praise the Lord. Praise the living Jesus. Turn your Bible with me to the book of Galatians chapter 5, verse 1. Galatians chapter 5, verse 1. Praise the Lord. Galatians chapter 5, verse 1. The Bible said, stand first, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Jesus Christ has made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage. Our theme for this month is walking in the liberty of Jesus. And our message this morning, I've titled it, stand fast in the liberty of Jesus. Tell your neighbor, say neighbor. Say neighbor. Look at your neighbor's face now. Say neighbor. Stand fast in the liberty of Jesus. From where I just read, you can take note of things there. There is a particular fact there. That fact is that Jesus has made us free. In other words, if we begin to live in bondage to a legal relationship with this our God, it is not the will of God. Praise the Lord. Some people, they put themselves into bondage. You know, the way they do things. I pray that God of heaven will grant you understanding in the mighty name of Jesus. What I'm saying is that God is pleading with you and I that we should take his strength and walk in that freedom that Christ Jesus has come to give us, and that we should not be entangled again with a yoke of bondage. Significantly, brethren, it is Christ who has made us free. We don't make ourselves free. There's nobody who can make himself free. You cannot make yourself free. The freedom we are talking about is a gift of Jesus. It's free from Jesus. It is being given to us and received by faith. Amen. Freedom is a gift of Jesus given to us and received by faith. When we struggle to free ourselves, do you know what happened? We become more entangled again with the yoke of bondage. That is a problem with the legalist. Amen. You know, everything is, they want to do it according to. Praise the Lord. What I mean by according, you know, everything they put it as a form of law. And Christ has said he has redeemed us from the cause of law. Amen. Or maybe I should put it like this. You know, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the Jews, you know, there is about 613 commandments. You know, they want to live by that law. You know, even the question is this: is it even possible to remember everything there? It's not possible. You know, even if you write it on the slate and you put it, you know, on your chest, so that anywhere you are going, you know, you want to be reading it, and you are putting yourself into what? Bondage. Christ has come to give us freedom. Today, people live in the headlong pursuit of freedom, which they think of as doing whatever they want to do and never deny any desire. This is false liberty. What I'm saying, brethren, is that people, they say they want to be free. In fact, like in this land, it's a land where you have your freedom, right? Canada, in North America, you have your right. Right is freedom, right? You can do whatever you like. I can decide to wake up the time I like. I can decide to eat the food I like. In fact, in as much as I'm 18 years old, I can decide not to live in my parents' house. I can decide to go and be living with my boyfriend, or I can decide to be living with my girlfriend. It is my right. That is freedom, right? But what we are saying is that this is what? False freedom. The true liberty we are talking about is our freedom from the tyranny of having to hand our own way to God. When we want to have it we want to serve God in the way that pleases us. We want to serve God. We want to do things in a way, to please ourselves, not to please God. We want to have our way. We want to serve God the way we like. That is not what God is saying. When you are delivered from that, that is what we call freedom. The freedom from sin and guilt and condemnation. Freedom from the penalty and the power. And eventually freedom from the presence of sin. Some people will tell you it is not possible to live without sin. When someone is telling you that way, do you know what the person is telling you? The person is telling you indirectly that, look, I'm just telling you, you are a candidate of hell. Because in heaven, no sinner can enter heaven, right? And the person is telling you that you cannot live without sin. So the person is telling you, you don't need to worry yourself. Just continue to live in your sin. When that person is telling you that, the person is telling you that you are an automatic candidate of where? Of hell. Thank God for the question that was asked this morning during the Sunday school. And said that when some people when they die, they say that their rapture has taken place. Anybody that dies in sin, no opportunity again to repent. It is when you are on the surface of this earth that you can repent. It is when you are still living that you can say, God, I'm sorry for what I've done. Amen. God help you in the mighty name of Jesus. I say God will help you in the mighty name of Jesus. Brethren, according to that verse, in verse 1 of Galatians chapter 5, it says, stand fast. God is saying, take effort to stay in this place of liberty. That is the liberty that Jesus earned for you. You did not work for it, to be sincere. If you work for it, raise up your hand. You didn't work for it. It's Jesus that earned that liberty for you. He paid with his own blood. Amen. So God is encouraging you that you take effort to stay in the place of liberty in Jesus. It is because someone who is legally made free in Jesus can still live in bondage. Amen. That is someone who has been saved and now put the mentality upon himself and saying, once I'm saved forever. And will not be careful with the way he lives his life. He can go back to be in bondage without even knowing that he's already in bondage. Some people are in bondage. They don't know that they are in bondage. And that is the greatest bondage. Praise the Lord. The greatest bondage is that those who are in bondage and they don't know that they are in bondage. But the Almighty God will open your eyes this morning. If there is any area of your life where you are still entangled with the yoke of bondage, the Almighty God will break that yoke today in the mighty name of Jesus. Someone can be deceived into placing themselves back into slavery. Maybe I will say that some people think that when we are talking of liberty, it is right to sin. Or it's a privilege to do whatever we like. It's a privilege to do whatever your heart wants to do. But that is not liberty. Instead, liberty is the spirit-given desire, an ability to do what we should do before God. Amen. The question now then is this: how do you live in the liberty of Jesus? How do you live in the liberty of Jesus? I'm going to give you 3 points today, and I'm going to say some few things about them, and then we shall continue the message next week. Praise the Lord. Because this message is not a message one can finish one day. So how do you live in the liberty of Jesus? Number 1, Galatians chapter 5, verse 13. Galatians chapter 5, verse 13. Or maybe I should even read from verses 13 to 15. Galatians chapter 5, from verses 13 to 15. He said, for brethren, you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. Praise the Lord. That verse 15 is a verse that strikes my heart. But the first point I want to give you here is, don't use your liberty in Jesus as occasion for the flesh. That's number 1 point. Don't use your liberty in Jesus as an occasion for what? For the flesh. And I said that verse 15 strike my heart. Let me tell you, let me give you an understanding to that verse. The verse says, if ye bite and devour one another. Take for instance, if you have two people, two selfish people, selfish, they are pursuing the same thing. Praise the Lord. Take for instance, there is only one thing, and the two of them, they are pursuing that. And the two of them, remember, I said they are what? They are selfish. What do you think is going to happen to them? They will devour one another. They will be after the life of each other. That's what the Bible is saying here. That if you bite and devour one another, it says, take heed that ye not be consumed one of another. What am I saying, brethren? The idea is that people may just go out and sin and come back and tell the Lord, this God that you are serving, you are a spineless God. There's nothing you can do. I can just come to you and say, Father, I'm sorry. And that is all. Praise the Lord. Because the Bible says that you have been called to liberty. Do not use your liberty as an occasion for the flesh. Don't just decide and do what will. Don't put, how do I put it? Don't put the running of your life into your own hands. The day-to-day activities of yourself, don't put it into your own hands. That is the reason why some people, they will tell you, you cannot walk and your head will not shake. They will just tell you, don't worry, there is no problem. Even if you are a pastor, don't worry. Commit that sin. Go back to God. Call upon God. He's a good God. I'm not saying God is a bad God. It's a good God. But the question is this, which you have no answer for. Do you know the last thing you will do? That you close your eyes. Some people will just commit that sin and they drop dead. Some people will commit sin, just little sin, and they leave their house. Something will happen and they cannot return back. What will be their fate? Don't use your liberty for occasion to the flesh. Number 2. From that verse 13, he said, brethren, you have been called unto liberty. Only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh. He said, but by love serve one another. Use your liberty. That's number 2 point. Use your liberty to love and serve others. In fact, I will tell you, this is an antidote for using liberty as an occasion for the flesh. The flesh expects others to conform to us. The flesh doesn't care much about others. But when, through love, when we serve one another, we conquer the flesh. The Bible says in that verse 14, it says, for all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this, thou shalt love thy neighbor. If you want to know how to love your neighbor, ask yourself how much you love yourself. Amen. The Bible is saying you should love your neighbor as yourself. So before you do anything, the first question you should ask yourself is, how much do I love myself? Amen. You don't need any book of instructions to teach you how to love your neighbor. Do you need to go and, buy any book that will tell you and say, Brakayode, this is the book you have to read so that you can know how to love Branoa. Praise the Lord. Unfortunately, there is no such book. Amen. The only book is this what? Bible. Amen. All you need to do is to look into your heart, and it will tell you how you ought to love your neighbor as yourself. If you don't want to deceive yourself, amen. If you want to be plain with yourself, how do I need to love my neighbor? Just think into think deeply and see, how do I need to love my neighbor? Let me put it this way. Those who do bad things, they know that they do bad things. Those who maltreat others, they know that they maltreat others. Amen. And unfortunately, the Bible says, he who knows the right thing to do and do it not, it is a what? It is a sin. Tell your neighbor, say neighbor. Say neighbor. The Bible says, by love, serve me. Praise the Lord. Ask your neighbor again. Say neighbor, will you obey? So serve me. That's what the Bible says. Praise the Lord. Because if you say you love God and you cannot love others, you cannot serve others, that is, everything is about me, me, me. That is selfishness. And we have said that the only antidote by which you will not use your liberty for occasion to the flesh is to do what? Is to love, is to serve others. The Almighty God will help you to do that. In the mighty name of Jesus. I read something somewhere, a quote from someone. He said, the loveless life is a life lived on the level of animals, with a concern only for oneself, no matter what the cost to other people. That is, if you are selfish, you are living your life like an animal. Let me explain. If you go to the jungle, praise the Lord, let's just take lions as an example. Maybe there is another animal that just give birth, just deliver to a new baby. Lion doesn't care. The only thing he cares for is about what? About himself. So he doesn't care. He can kill the mother, leave the baby. Wonder. That is the life of animals. Animals only care for themselves. They don't care for others. When you see snake with, the python, we see a particular animal that is so big, the python will kill it and try to swallow it. Even, the crocodile will swallow something they cannot digest because they care only for themselves. Don't be an animal. Tell your neighbor, say neighbor, don't be an animal. Amen. Because it's animals that live a loveless life. I pray the Almighty God will help you in the mighty name of Jesus. Number 3, use your liberty to walk in the Spirit. Galatians chapter 5, verse 16 to 18. Galatians chapter 5, from verses 16 to 18. He said, this I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. Praise the Lord. Let me just stop there. I said that you have to walk in the Spirit, use your liberty to walk in the Spirit. That is, walking in holy living. How do you do, when we say to walk in the Spirit, what does it really mean? I will give you 7 points and we shall pray. Praise the Lord. The first one is the Holy Spirit lives in you. Amen. To walk in the Spirit means that Holy Spirit what? Lives in you. Holy Spirit resides in you. It also means to be open and sensible to the influence of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Now, in that verse 17, he said, for the flesh lusted against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. He said, and these are contrary one to the other. Those who are, as you are, you cannot be empty. You have to be filled with something. Praise the Lord. The Spirit, is there. The flesh is there struggling with the Spirit to take, to be the one controlling you. The unfortunate thing is that the Holy Spirit is a gentle spirit. The Holy Spirit will just be telling you gently, my brother, this is the way to go. But the flesh will be shouting and say, no, don't agree. No, don't do it that way. Unfortunately, many people, they are only sensitive to their flesh. And they yield to the flesh. Praise the Lord. What am I saying? To walk in the Spirit, it means you'll be open and sensitive to the influence of the Holy Spirit. Number 3, it means you will pattern your life after the influence of the Holy Spirit. That is, you will live your life the way the Spirit of God tells you. You want to do something, the Spirit of God is saying, do it this way, you will do it that way. You will not want to do it the other way. And then, you will listen to what the Holy Spirit says as He guides us in the path and nature of Jesus. Jesus Himself said in John chapter 14 from verses 16 to 17. Jesus promised that, He said that when He goes, the Spirit will come. John chapter 14 verses 16 to 17. He said, and I will pray the Father, and He shall give you another comforter, that He may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth Him not, neither knoweth Him, but ye know Him, for He dwelleth with you, and shall be with you. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, He shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I've said unto you. What am I saying, brethren? You have to listen to what the Holy Spirit says as He guides you in the path and nature of Jesus. Number 5, what does it mean to walk in the Spirit? It means life by the Spirit is neither legalism or license, nor a middle way between them, but it is a life of faith and love that is above false ways. Walking in the Spirit is a life of faith and love that is above all false ways. That is, your life will be full of faith, it will be full of love, above all the false ways of life. Amen. Number 6, which is number 6 and 7. Actually, that is where my next message will begin from. Amen. Number 6 means walking in the Spirit will help you to overcome the works of the flesh. Walking in the Spirit will help you to overcome the works of the flesh. If you read Galatians chapter 5 from verses 19 to 21. Amen. Galatians chapter 5 from verses 19 to 21, it tells us about the works of flesh. Now, I want you to take note of something today. When you read Galatians chapter 5 from verse 19 to 23, you are going to take note of two things. Amen. The Bible talks about works of the flesh. Plural. Works. It has S. Works of the flesh. But when you get to the spirit, it says fruit, singular, of the spirit. Fruit of the spirit. Praise the Lord. It means there are 9 of them we are going to list, but it's like it's not an option that you will have hate and don't have, there's only one that is remaining. You must possess the 9. That is when you have the fruit of the spirit. Praise the Lord. And by the grace of God, we are going to center our discussion next week on the fruit of the spirit. Praise the Lord. Take note. Works of the flesh. In fact, I will say that the works of the flesh, they are categorized into groups. Praise the Lord. They are categorized into groups. If you take them, you will see that, all of them, they are sins per se, right? You will see that maybe the first group, you see they are sensual sins, that is, sins that has to do with committing, sins of immorality. Praise the Lord. And then you move on, you will see that you have sins that has to do with interpersonal sins. That is the way we relate with others. Amen. You will proceed further. It goes to religious sins. That is sins that you commit against the Almighty God. And then the last one is social sin. Hey, praise the Lord. Which is is common. Do you know why I say it's more common? Is that some people, they take solace in something else to keep themselves happy. They say social sin. Praise the Lord. The Almighty God will help us in Jesus' name. But that's not what we are going to discuss next. We are going to discuss, because what is more important to me is the fruit of the Spirit. Amen. You shall get there. You shall possess it. In the mighty name of Jesus. Rise up on your feet as you are going to pray. And tell the Lord and say, Father, according to your word, help me to be the doers of your word. In the mighty name of Jesus. That this word that I'm hearing will not stand against me the day of judgment. That this word that I'm listening to, this word that is being spoken, that I'm there, that I heard myself, this word will not stand against me. In the mighty name of Jesus. The Bible says, let us come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and have grace to help in time of need. Pray that the Almighty God will grant you the grace. He will grant you the enablement. He will grant you that particular grace that you require to be the doers of his word. In the mighty name of Jesus. Heavenly Father, the grace that I required, release unto me in the mighty name of Jesus. Release unto me in the mighty name of Jesus. Release unto me in the mighty name of Jesus. The faith and love that are required, that will make me live above all false ways, release unto me. In the mighty name of Jesus. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Now you are going to pray this prayer. Praise the Lord. Open your eyes. Look at me. You know that Bible says, it says, brethren, he said, the liberty that he has given unto you. He said you should not use your occasion for the flesh. He said, but by love, serve one another. You are going to pray. Specific prayer for yourself. And you say, Father, help me that I will serve other brethren. That I will love other brethren. In the mighty name of Jesus. That I will not be selfish. That every garment of selfishness, every spirit of selfishness, Father, uproot it from me. In the mighty name of Jesus. God did not create selfishness in you. God does not want you to be selfish. But rather, he wants you to love others. If God were to be selfish, he will not send Jesus even to come and die for you. If Jesus were to be selfish, Jesus will mind his own things. So pray for yourself that, Father, I don't want to be an animal. I don't want to live a loveless life. Help me. In the mighty name of Jesus. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for your word. We thank you, Father, because you want freedom for your children. That is why you are bringing this message even unto them once again. That is why, Father, I pray that every one of us, as your children, we will stay firm in the liberty that Christ has given unto us in the mighty name of Jesus. We will not take the living of our life into our own hands. We will not live our life the way we want, but we will live it according to the pattern and dictate of your spirit in the mighty name of Jesus. Even as we continue with this series, I pray, Father, continue with us in Jesus' name. Thank you, Lord, Father, because I pray answering God. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray.
Church, please, let's stretch forth our hands towards the man of God and pray for him that all the days of his life he will walk in the Spirit and he will enjoy the liberty of Jesus Christ, that he will not take the message for granted, that God will help his ministry, help his family. In everything he does, he will flourish in the mighty name of Jesus. And so shall it be. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Praise the Lord. Praise Master Jesus. Praise the Lord. Are we sleeping? So let's greet our neighbors. Just give your neighbor a handshake. Just tell them, walk in the Spirit and enjoy the liberty to Jesus Christ. Walk in the Spirit and enjoy the liberty to Jesus. Tell your neighbor, walk in the Spirit and enjoy the liberty to Jesus. Do we have anybody that's watching with us for the first time? Do we have first-timers in the sanctuary today? If today is your first time, could you please raise up your hand? Nobody? Praise the Lord. Let's continue to evangelize so that we can help and proclaim the word of the Lord. It's announcement time. Our monthly 3 days fasting and prayer will be coming up this coming week from Tuesday, October 28 to Tuesday, October 29 to Thursday, October the 31st. So on Tuesday, we'll observe the fastings and we'll be in church by 7 o'clock to pray. Please, if you're not working, just try to be in the sanctuary. We will not be doing the digging deep, but instead we will pray to conclude our fasting for Tuesday. And on Wednesday, we should all observe the fasting and conclude in our various homes. So the fasting is for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Prayer is for also Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But on Tuesday, we come to the church to pray. Wednesday, we pray at home. And on Thursday, which is the last day of the month, we're going to come to the church to conclude our fast and pray. It's our usual regular monthly program, end of the month. Please make yourself available. And pray yourself out into God's favor. Praise the Lord. We are being reminded of the commitment to the church building project, and we encourage to continue to do so, for God loves a cheerful giver. We see collecting offering and donations towards the building project. As the Spirit leads you, please make the donations. As you use the POS terminal, please remember to write your name write your name on an envelope, put the merchant copy inside the envelope, and address the envelope properly. Write your name, the amount, and what you're giving for. Please don't forget. It is very important. Praise the Lord. Fasting and prayers. Again. Fasting and prayers. Again. Our general overseer has declared 30 days fasting and prayer for the month of November. So from November 1st to November the 30th, we're going to fast and pray again. So the normal fasting and prayer will be 30 days. But I know some people are very strong. They can do dry fasting. You can do that for only 10 days and you're done. So dry fasting, 10 days, normal fasting from 6 to maybe 6 or whenever you're doing for 30 days. November 1st to November 30. Somebody will say, but we did fasting by the beginning of the year now. Don't worry too much. We are soldiers. And if the captain says, take right, he has seen something that you have not seen. So don't obey and say, but you might look for your head someday. So he is our spiritual leader. There is a reason why he feels it's necessary we fast again. Just abide. And the Spirit will take control in Jesus' name. God will help you. God will help me in the mighty name of Jesus. Come next Sunday, as we've been announcing, the family of Fakoya will be dedicating their son. We don't know the name yet, but I guess we'll find out next Sunday. Please put our hands together for our Lord Jesus Christ. So November the 3rd, and that's also our Thanksgiving Sunday. So please come with your dancing shoe, and I can imagine that there will be rice and stew. I can. Okay. So just come with your dancing shoe and just start your. Okay, there's fasting that day. Pastor says, don't worry. Praise the Lord. God will help us in Jesus' name. So please, it will be on November 3rd next Sunday. Please remember to come and celebrate with them. And following that will be the 40th birthday celebration for our mommy, Mrs. Folakemi Dairo. November 9th, so the Saturday after the dedication. The venue is here in the sanctuary, and the time is 3 p.m. So please come and celebrate so you can see how 40th birthday celebration looks like. Praise the Lord. We have a prayer box at the back of the church. Please put down your prayer points and have faith. Believe that God will answer your prayers. The Salvation Army will continue to pray for them, on them, and God will help us. Be informed that our Sunday services are recorded on Facebook, and you can just search RCCG Grace Sanctuary and you can find them. On Facebook and on YouTube, you can use them as a form of evangelism. All women are advised to wait behind after the service for a brief message. And if there are further announcements, they'll be communicated to us before the end of the service and also via the church WhatsApp. Just make sure you're connected. If you are not receiving the message that pastor is sending every Tuesday, Thursday right now, please submit your phone number to the pastor's office and we'll get you connected. Please put your hands together for our Lord Jesus Christ.
Praise the Lord. Let somebody shout hallelujah. If you're happy to be in the sanctuary this morning, shout a big hallelujah. It's time to give our tithe and offering to the Almighty God. As we hear the message this morning, he said, if you love God, if you are not selfish, you will give your money towards the work of God. Let us stand on our feet. Let us package our offering, our building offering, tithe offering, Thanksgiving offering. Then we're going to package it and pray over it. Let us pray over it. Let's say, Father, as I'm giving my money this morning, bless me in the name of Jesus. Bless the work of my hand in the mighty name of Jesus. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Choir.
Our God is a good God.
Yes, He is.
Our God is a great God.
Yes, He is.
Our God is a good God.
Yes, He is.
Our God is a great God.
Yes, He is.
He lifts me up. He turns me around.
Turns me around.
Our Lord turns me around.
He turns me around.
Set my feet
Sets my feet
upon the solid rock.
upon the solid rock.
I feel like
everlasting Father, we thank you for the opportunity to give unto your work this morning. Father, accept our thanks and praises in the name of Jesus. And we sanctify this offering in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' mighty name we prayed.
Praise the Lord. You can have your seat for 1 minute. Choir, you still stay, just 1 minute. Amen. Before we close the service, as we have said that on Tuesday we are coming here to pray, and I pray that the Almighty God will answer our prayer in the mighty name of Jesus. So if you don't have anything to pray for yourself, please come and pray for me. I need your prayer. Please. Okay? When you come, if you have no prayer, don't say because I don't have any prayer request. That's why I'm not coming. Please come. Come and pray for me. I need prayers. Amen. God will help you as you do that. In the mighty name of Jesus. And on Thursday, the same thing, we are coming here to pray. And then as part of the fasting and prayer, fasting will not kill you. Tell your neighbor, say neighbor, fasting will not kill you. Amen. In fact, if you cannot fast a whole day, you can fast. The most important thing, just make sure you pray. Amen. It's not that you are going on hunger strike, that you will not eat from, if you don't eat from morning till 6 p.m. and you don't pray, you are on hunger strike. Amen. But if you fast from, even let's say you fast for 5 hours, and within 5 hours, you pray very well, you have done something. Amen. God will help you. In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Our daddy, Pastor Bolaji, the mommy passed on to glory 2 days ago. Praise the Lord. He just returned back from Nigeria and, it happened. But who are we? That's how, because to me, what I believe is that for everything, there is a reason. He's a servant of God, he's a man of God, and God make it to be like that. It means there is a purpose by which God allow it that way. So let's extend our, because like we have even heard from the message, to show that we love one another, we have to be in the same shoe with him. So let's extend our condolences unto him and the family. Praise the Lord. Let's stand upon our feet as we are going to close the service. Everlasting Father, Rock of Ages, we thank you for the service of today. We adore you. Accept our thanks in the mighty name of Jesus. Even as we go this week, Father, go before us in Jesus' name. Every arrow, the one that fly by day, even the one that fly by night, the terror by night, it shall not come near our dwellings in the mighty name of Jesus. Your word says, let no man trouble me, because I bear in my body the mark of the Lord Jesus. Let your mark be visible upon the lintel of our houses, upon our foreheads, upon our homes, upon our marriages, upon everything that concerneth us in the mighty name of Jesus. Heavenly Father, as this weather is changing, Father, it will have no effect on our bodies in the mighty name of Jesus. Sickness will not come near our homes in the mighty name of Jesus. You make us to remain healthy in the mighty name of Jesus. As we be driving, Lord, Father, oh Lord, I pray, you will guide us. We will not be involved in any accident in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, Father, because I pray and sing God. For in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Let's share the grace in fellowship. May the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us now and forevermore. Amen. Surely, goodness and mercy shall follow us all the days of our life, and we shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Let's sing our family song. So neighbor and say, love me, oh.